Well, I mean, it's not really danger. Yeah, they're just boobs. Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek XX Chic, and we are back with another episode of My Hero Academia. We're now on to the episode that is called The Story of How We All Became Heroes. So the last episode was very interesting. We got the true story behind what's going on with Oyama. He was a double agent. He was working with, well, via his parents, he was working with All for One. Basically, he kept leaking information to All for One, which was used for his minions to attack the Class 1A and also to keep an eye on Midoriya, as well as One for All. There we go. And of course, none of the class recognized or even realized that he was doing this. He turned out to be the perfect plant in this situation, but he was getting stressed over the situation and his parents were getting stressed, and we see that he was exposed. But thankfully, Midoriya understands that this situation was very difficult for Oyama, and he made the best decision that I think he thought he could in that situation. And he was asked at the end of the episode to become a double agent, like a true double agent, in the sense of trying to use this working relationship that he has with All for One to see if he can get information about his location, and maybe for once the good guys could get the jump on him. But we'll see whether or not that works out. At the time, for the time being, they're checking him out to make sure that All for One didn't potentially put some sort of booby trap in any of them, but mainly in him, since he gave Aoma his quirk that will potentially hurt him if he tries to do anything against him. So that's where we ended the episode, with that information, as well as the fact that we now know that All for One has got many backup plans for whatever his ultimate goal is, and that even though all this stuff happened with Shigaraki, he's not daunted. He does not feel like anything's been too derailed. He's just gonna go with another backup plan. So I'm ready to jump in. Just before I do though, a reminder that if you'd like to be notified of when I do uploads of this show or anything else you might be watching of mine, please go ahead, hit the subscribe button, as well as that notification bell so you can be in the know. All right, that out of the way, let's get into the episode right now.
青山さんだけがオールフォーワンを欺くことができるかもしれない。
Can he though?
どうして
Because they're actually your friends, bro.
どうして彼らはこんな僕を
They can understand you didn't do this because you wanted to.
待て待てガイズ、飛躍しすぎだ。
Are we? We've got a week.
お前らが一番の被害者だ。
We're all
さら
victims.
信じられるの
We're
か。
all victims, including Ayama.
心の内を救い取れなかった俺たちの責任でもあります
I wouldn't go that far, but
友として手を取りたい
exactly.
手を取ってもらいたい
He's asking for help now.
再び対等になれる唯一の方法だからです
Exactly. Y'all need as many allies as you can get.
待ってっからな。5発くらいハウザーぶち込んでトントンだな。
見づらすぎるからやめろ
I mean, maybe a little incentive so he doesn't slip.
みんな言ったよな、責任を分けてくれって一人で行かせないって
Exactly. I hope that Ayoma's parents are hearing this, because they are the ones who really need to hear this. Wipe your tears, sir, and suck it up.
君たちの気持ちはわかるがここは冷静に
緑谷、
Oh God. Hello?
何か具体策はあるのか。
いえそれは
He's like, I've been recovering.
この責任は見抜けなかった担任の俺にあります。気持ちはこいつらと同じです。
Exactly. Ayoma's repentant.
お前を除籍するつもりはない。
Exactly. We need you, bro.
一応、青山とご両親には話が聞こえないよう配慮を願います。
あわかった
Earmuffs. You sure none of them have super hearing? Oh, we don't get to hear either? Well, damn.
とりあえず準備だな
Right? It's like everyone's just chilling, kinda.
みんな絶対倒そうね。
Yeah.
直しておかないといけない装備が
Wow.
あら
She's still blowing things up, huh?
緑谷くん
Wow. Sir, ma'am. Okay.
何かご用ですかお二人さん。
機関値が反応しなかっ
Well, I mean, it's not really danger. Yeah, those were
た
just,
それはともかく発
they're
明
just boobs.
普段通りアイテム事務所に頼めばいいじゃないですか。
Because you make stuff that's shady.
まさか初音さん
Oh, yeah, I can believe that. If she's been working hard, why would she care?
コス修復だね。 お入
I
り。
forgot about this guy. When's the last time we saw him? Wow. Things are looking super clean.
様相が変わりましたね。
Yeah, it's upgraded.
の UA バリア。その開発主任を担当しててね。
Ah.
急ぎですか？
Yeah, you got a week tops.
無理ですね。すみません。
Damn.
ほぼ作り直しになりますが、圧縮機
The
構に必要な
ambulance sound in the background.
すごく無理っぽいですね。俺のアーマーは。
使用書がなきゃ無理です。
The siren is sending me.
初めのおなくら。
Okay,
ございま
thank
す。
God.
助けない機械いじりの虫である初音くんなら引き受けてくれるの
She's
では
got
と
other things to do. She's leveling up too, I guess.
飛んだ。
Evacuation flight system.
発明も携わっ
Yep,
ても
she's
らって
leveling up. She's like, respectfully, your costumes are the least of my problems.
腕で走ればいいじゃないですか。
それで外の様子に脇目も振らず。
Yeah, I mean, when people get immersed in something, the whole world goes away.
あなたたちヒーローが窮地に立っていることくらいは存じてます。私たちは戦えません。あなたたちがより多くの人間を
Yeah,
守れる
being
よう
useful
に
in the places where you have the strengths.
発明がサポート課のヒーロー活動なんです。
You better let them know. You can be a hero in your own way. Oh, God.
ドガントレットにはお取りはしますが、私のベイビーでよろしく。
You okay, bro?
飯田君のアーマー
Her aim is remarkable.
勝ちましょう。
That's right. We're all doing. They can't tell you anything right now because they need to find their faces. Jeez.
ちょうど準備が整ったと。
よかったもう6分
もう一日も無駄には
The
でき
face
ま
is
せん。
still scrunched.
青山。立
We
ってくれ
can't worry about him right now. We gotta work on what's in front of us. There we go.
呪いになってねえといいけどな
I mean, it's a risk, but everyone in that group's a risk, truthfully.
緑谷君、爆豪君、轟君を中心にクラスを3班に分けて展開。捜索隊合流。
Let's do it.
100%。
I guess that's the place to practice, though, if it's already demolished.
いた。怪我人出てない。
Sun Eater. Oh, this guy. We haven't seen him in a minute.
当然としてもその分街に人がいなくなってヴィランに関する情報が激減
Lives are more important at this point.
大万全正真正銘全面戦争が始まるっちゅうわ
Yes,
けや
it's been dropped a few times. We know. Can we just prepare, please, instead of scaring us with all the anticipation? No, I'm so mad about Aizawa's eye. I hope that, like, Eren can restore it.
青山の件で我々は一気に動きを制限されることになった。
Yep.
動向から白と判断し話を進めます。
Oh, the U.S. military is still here.
竜子たちは来れないの寂しい。
The Magnetos. I like the magnet for all for one. That's good.
分断です。オール・フォー・ワンを優に超えている。襲撃時に見せた電波を用いた連携に加え、二人の思考の共有がどこまで可能かも深くて、二人が揃って出てくるだけで、
Damn, he said give up.
第二次決戦においては、最低でも10キロ以上二人を引き離す。
Is that gonna matter if they share a consciousness?
当然向こうもそうならないように駒を動かしてくるだろう。
Yeah, you're gonna have to find him first.
燃え
Oh, I
広
was
がり
like, who's that?
火の恐ろしさ。ダビが先兵に来るだけで、我々の足は止まる。
Yep.
オールフォーワンと死柄木を引き離すために、まずダビを引き離して。
ダビだけじゃない
No, he's got more.
すべて
All of
で
his
す。
little minions. God.
敵主力を分断し、各国撃破。
I mean, divided would be good.
そりゃ少し
I mean,
能天気
everything's
すぎやしませんか。
pessimistic at this point. We gotta try something.
ですからこの条件を成立させるために、
Great. Who's gonna come up with the plan?
我々社会と自分たちを計りにかけ、社会を捨てた事実は変わらん。
Did he though? Compassion, I think, is the way to go on this one.
青山少年を。
検査の結果、彼の中に異常は見られなかった。神経系と共に問題ない。
Thanks, Dino Doctor.
裏切り者に対し強制爆
You
破
would have done it so many times already.
見せしめの殺人、嘘をつけば殺すなど。
Exactly.
恐怖という種をこの子に。
That makes sense. Either he didn't have the quirk or thankfully he just didn't think he'd have to use it on a kid.
彼らが僕を信じてくれればくれる
More
ほど
pressure it is.
僕自身が僕を信じられなくなってし
No,
まいます
bro, you need to take it. Take it as some air under your wings.
オール・フォー・ワンを前にしたらまた僕は同じことをしてしまうかもしれない
Might. That's your decision, though. It's completely up to you.
光の当たらない場所で死ぬのを待つだけが
Bro, you're like 16. That's gonna be a long ways away.
戦え。
Mm-hmm.
お前は分かってます勝たなきゃいけないから分かってる
Not just we, you.
お前を利用するって点では、俺たちとオール・フォー・ワン、
I was gonna say, sadly, it kind of is in the same ballpark.
このまま降りて罪に苛まれたまま、
Exactly.
うっすら死んでいくことを、俺は許さない。
Or inaction.
惨めで情けなくても、手を差し出してくれた。
Mm-hmm.
友と歩め。
Young Shoto.
あいつらといれば、
Exactly. Draw strength from them, bro. They're like the strongest group of people you could possibly join hands with.
お前一人で歩ませるわけがないだろ
Exactly.
う。
We're backing you up, bro.
俺たち教師やプロヒーローも、その道は、皆が歩む道だ。
Mm-hmm. That's it. We end on some tears. This one felt like it was shorter than usual.
行くよそろそろ時間
Who is he again?
僕たちは何を手に入れ何を失っていくのか
Wow.
さらに向こうへプルスウルトラ
Let you down. What an interesting name for an episode. not an encouraging name at all. All right, well, we had another very sentimental episode, kind of like the last one. Again, I think I said in the last one that they're building us up. They're letting us take in a few of these softer moments before what I feel like the latter half of the season's going to be a lot of pain. A lot of pain, kind of like what we got towards the end of last season too. But we see that the pleas continued to Aoyama to make the right decision, to not continue to make poor decisions. And again, I should bring out that I completely understand why Aoyama did what he did. As I said in the last episode, yes, he knew what he was doing was wrong, but his parents put him in an impossible position. So I do think that if this is a just system, they'll recognize that where he's concerned. And even though he may get some form of punishment, it should be very mild because his parents were the real people who made the big mistakes here. They were the adults who put this kid into a contract that he didn't have any idea he was even being put into, and then having him carry out the majority of the dirty work for them. So that is not fair on him. But anyways, they were imploring to him to do this work, to try at least to pretend that he's still working for All for One and see if there's any way that he could draw, if not him out, then some of his minions out, because he's really the only way into that side of this battle that they've got that they know of at the moment. Especially because, you know, I mean, Hawks would have been their best way before, but we all know that his identity with them is burned. So anyway, another kind of tearful episode of, I loved hearing the class for the most part all say the same thing that Midoriya did, that like, yeah, we're a little bit disappointed, but he's still our classmate. We still have his back. We don't want him to keep walking that path. We want him to come back to us and actually be with us now with a free conscience, because that's the difference. Before, we saw last episode, he was saying, I was trying to join, laugh and smile and join hands with you, but I couldn't really because the shadow was hanging over my head. But now, if he makes those steps and makes that decision, he can finally really join them once and for all as an equal and not have that weight over him of knowing that he's betraying them or lying to them anymore. But he is going through his own personal stuff. We saw that he just really couldn't believe that everyone's standing up for him like this. He really expected everyone to be very upset and kind of echoing what the cop and what the speaker guy, I can't remember his name, how they were like, how can you trust this kid? We don't know that we can trust him. And then I really liked that Aizawa came on and was like, I'm still his teacher. I don't plan on expelling him. And as far as I'm concerned, I agree with the students. Like, I think he should be given a chance. And of course, Aizawa would do that because like he said, well, bless him. He even said, I'll take accountability because I should have seen it coming, which, bro, like, how could you? Like, you have so much going on. There's no way you can know what's going on with every single student. But anyways, his point was that he was showing that he still very much is treating Aoyama like he is part of his class, that he's still one of his students, and he's still considers him under his protection. So I really like all that sentiment that went out to Ayama. I think that, as I said in the episode, compassion and empathy is the way to turn this around. I don't think Ayama's an evil person. He keeps calling himself a terrible villain, but he's not, right? Yes, he lied. He knew he was lying. He deceived his friends for a long time. A lot of people have been hurt because of what he went along with. However, the intent matters here, and he was never his intention to be this person. He didn't want to be like this. He didn't get any enjoyment or, any kind of a high off of doing this. He felt horrible. It was destroying him inside. So, he wasn't doing this out of his own true volition. He very much was being coerced into it because of the threat, the ever-present threat that his family or himself might lose their lives over it. So with all that kind of that he had to deal with, the way I think for him to be solidly turned back with 1A and to stand his ground and become a hero again is for him to recognize that people understand that that's not, even though he did bad things, it doesn't make him a bad person, and that they're willing to support him and stand by him while he takes the steps to atone for what he did, basically, by doing the right things. And I say atone lightly because, as I said, I don't fully believe this is his fault, but the reality is he did still make the choices. He did still lie. He did still do those things, and he did still break the trust of a lot of people, and he's going to have to do some things to prove to them that he's trustworthy again, one way or another. So anyway, he now knows that 1A, the very least, including Aizawa, are all very much standing behind him, and they want him to do better, and they're not going to abandon him, regardless. So I think that that's important. I like that conversation they had at the end where Aizawa recognized the fact that he's scared. Like, it's not his but his not readily accepting this mission that they're trying to give him is not because he's actually bad. It's because he's genuinely still terrified. I mean, even now that he knows that there's no waiting trap inside of his DNA in case he does do something bad, we know that All For One has a lot of different ways to get to people. We heard the parents talk about it last episode, how everybody who tried to get out from under his thumb ended up dead. So the fear is there, and All For One did a great job of planting those seeds of fear, as Aizawa put it, in all of the people that he's used like this. He understood that the only way to really get Ayama to dig into this path is that he's going to have to challenge that fear and go anyways, right? That's what true bravery is you can be scared, but you still do what you need to do anyway. I think we're good. Like I said that last episode, I don't think Ayama's a bad kid. I do think he wants to do what's right. And I think he's always wanted to feel like this quirk he was given was a blessing, even though it still hurts him a little bit. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. But that's how we ended the episode. But otherwise, we saw that there's a plan being put in place, but we don't know what that plan is. They didn't let us as an audience find out. And they made sure that Ayama and his parents didn't know, mostly because they're not 100% sure at this point that they won't break if one of All For One's people find them. And I understand that, especially the parents. Like, at this point, I don't trust his parents at all. So there is a plan being put in place with the students, and they are going back to training some more with one of their instructors, and they look like they're all ready to go. We also saw what was going on with the lady, the girl who's the tinkerer, I guess is what we can call her. What was her name? Gosh, her name slipped out of my head again. But anyways, we haven't seen her for a while, but she's always been giving Midoriya these different types of inventions to play with and experiment on. They're usually half-baked, but they're very, very powerful. So Midoriya went to her because he wanted to get the gauntlets that he had to support his hands, because we know that his hands got broken really badly in the past, and they really were helping to support him and keep him from hurting himself. And he was hoping she could fix it, but then he discovered that her little workshop has now become a whole operation, because they're the ones now who are in charge of maintaining the shield barrier that's around UA and all the different protection mechanisms and measures that they're using right now to keep everyone there safe. So yeah, it was just kind of cool to see that they've been leveling up in their own way as well. And then we got that really good speech about how she said that, our quirks and what we can do in here is not necessarily the best for battle, but this is how we do our hero work, is that we can support the heroes that are fighting by creating the stuff that you need, which we saw that she gave Midoriya some new gloves that look a lot more like what goes with his old suit. And she also gave something to, oh gosh, why do I always forget the guy with the jet's name? His name slipped out of my head, but she gave him some new gear as well. And she also was saying that she's not going to be able to really do a lot of their suit stuff going forward. There's 2 new people to do that. So that was really cool to see. And then lastly, we saw that All Might was talking to the police service, and it looks like we have a handful of the US military that's stayed behind, despite, I guess they should, because I think they were kind of Star and Stripes team. But anyway, he gave them a debrief saying that first and foremost, what they need to do is separate All Might from Shigaraki, because he's like, the two of them combined is the problem. Like, we'll never be able to defeat them between All For One's quirks and Shigaraki being way OP'd with all the stuff that happened to him last season. So they're like, we need to separate them. That we say, as much as we know is that they share consciousness, and sometimes All For One can combine what they can do together to work together, but they're not completely one yet. And we know that too as an audience, right? We know we got a week before that happens. So he's saying that if we go to battle with them, we can't have them in the same vicinity because All For One could basically take over Shigaraki whenever he wants. And they believe proximity is part of that. I don't think it's 100% true though, but I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of whether or not he was, no, I guess Shigaraki still has room to fight All For One a bit on a conscious level when there's distance between All For One's body and Shigaraki. But for the most part, it looks like the subconscious hold that All For One has over him is still overpowering. Like, All Might believes that the only way they have a chance is by keeping them at least 10 kilometers apart during their battles, which again, I'm like, I feel like that's not far enough. And they're like, okay, well, that sounds like that's the one thing they'll be working to make sure we can't do. And yeah, All Might was like, And on top of that, we still have Toya's crazy ass to deal with, not to mention all his other little minions that are just going to be literally with the job purposefully of keeping everybody from getting to All For One or Shigaraki directly or doing anything to get between them. So he basically let them know this is going to be a very, very hard ass quest for us to complete, but it's the minimum we can do to have a shot of taking both of them down, because together, in All Might's opinion, is impossible. So yeah, lots on their plate. We got a lot of info in this episode. Like I said, no fighting, nothing too crazy, but I feel like we're building up as we keep going on because they keep mentioning all out battle. So it's going to be crazy when we finally get there. So, but a good episode. I enjoyed it a lot. Looking forward to the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please show some love, and I'll see you in the next one.